When I was a teenager, I remember my own father, who is no longer with us, who used to call me on and off and tell me, you have to get to know your potential, recognize your potential, and do your best in order to achieve your potential. Now, when he said that, I don't think I understood what he meant by that. In fact, it was very difficult for me to understand what he was trying to convey to me. Now, in my own reflection, I have asked myself, did my father understand what he was talking about? Did he know my potential? Yes, maybe he knew some of it, but not all of it. And did I know my own potential? Maybe later on in life, I got to know some of it, but not all of it. So therefore, knowing the potential of someone or the potential of a thing, a potential of a situation is something that some of us have and some of us don't have at all. But can we have it in its fullness, knowing the potential? Now, as we celebrate the fifth Sunday in the season of Lent, we find today in the Gospel according to John, Jesus conveying to his own disciples about the potential of living your life to the full by being able to surrender your life so that you find life. That's what he says. If a seed does not fall on the ground and does not die, it will not have the fruits. If you try to save yourself, save your life, you will lose it. If you lose your life for God, then you will have it. Now, what does he mean by saying this? It's almost as if my father, who used to talk about knowing the potential. Did Jesus know the potential of life itself? We can only conclude that Jesus had a very different definition of the mystery of life. Why do I say that? If you read the scriptures, you can see that in his first public ministry, in the act of performing a miracle, he went to the wedding feast at Cana in Galilee and he saw water. And there he saw the potential of water to be the wine. Then also you can see that in the journey of recruiting his own disciples, calling his disciples, he sees Peter, who was an impulsive man, and he sees great leadership and stability of this man as a leader of his own church. And also when you see the celebration of the Passover, Jesus sees bread and wine, and he saw body and blood of his own eternal journey in the sacrament of Eucharist. So there you can see that Jesus was a man, in our understanding of his own life, Jesus had a very deep reflection on the mystery of life, the mystery of what the world or God's creation is all about. Without that inner reflection, most of us will live our lives but not really get into the very deep understanding of life that Jesus had. My dear friends, when you try to understand this whole thing about knowing the potential or getting inside the inner being of a person or a thing or the creation that we live in, it all takes an inner capacity within one's own self. Jordan Peterson, who is a famous clinical psychologist in Canada, in talking about this entire mystery of seeing the inner potential in anything, he says that's a capacity that some of us have or all of us have because of our inner substructure. He calls it a substructure, where from the depth of your soul, depth of your being, you see what is not seen by others. In the life of Jesus, he saw everything from a very deep inner reality. He saw everything from a very deep sense of understanding. During this season of Lent, especially as we reflect on the mystery of death and resurrection, it is important to ask ourselves, do we have that reflection on ourselves, on everything that we have in life, and especially on the mystery of life and the mystery of death? That is where we need to begin today in order to make sense of our faith called Christianity. Amen.